There are mornings when you wake up and the day feels clean before it even begins. And then there are mornings like this one, where something from yesterday followed you into your sleep and was still sitting quietly beside you when you opened your eyes. Maybe it was a conversation that didn't end well. Maybe it was a decision you keep replaying, wondering if you should have said something different, done something different, been someone different. Or maybe you can't even name it exactly. It's just there. That low, familiar weight that a full night of sleep didn't quite lift. You got up anyway. You're here anyway. And that matters more than you know. Because there is something quietly courageous about choosing to turn toward God on a morning when your heart feels more bruised than rested. Not because you have the right words, not because you've figured out how to fix what happened yesterday, but simply because something in you still believes that this quiet pause, this honest moment, is where things begin to change. Not with noise, not with striving, just with stillness. His mercies are new every morning. Not new when we've earned them. Not new when we finally let go of everything perfectly. New right now, on this Thursday, on April 30th, in exactly the condition you're in. So wherever you are sitting right now, whether the house is still quiet or the morning has already started pulling at you, I want you to take one slow breath. You don't have to carry yesterday into today. That is what we are here for. And without any pressure, without any performance, your heart begins to turn toward the one who has been waiting for you all along. Lord, here I am, just as I am. Some pain doesn't announce itself loudly. It doesn't arrive with a warning. It doesn't knock before it enters. It just quietly settles somewhere inside you, in the back of your chest, behind your eyes, somewhere between your shoulders, and it sits there, patiently, until you forget it was ever a visitor and start believing it was always a resident. That is what yesterday can do. Lord, I come to you right now, not with everything resolved, not with the pain already behind me. I come with it still present, still warm, still close enough to feel. And I want to be honest with you about what I'm carrying. There are words someone said to me yesterday that I am still hearing. Maybe they were spoken in frustration. Maybe they were meant to be small. But they landed somewhere tender, and I have been turning them over ever since, trying to decide whether to believe them or release them. And the truth is, I haven't been able to do either yet. They are just there, playing quietly on repeat in a part of my mind I wish I could turn off. There is also the weight of effort that didn't produce what I hoped. I tried. I genuinely tried. I gave what I had, I showed up the way I knew how, and still the result was not what I needed it to be. And there is a particular kind of exhaustion that comes not from laziness, but from trying hard and still coming up short. That exhaustion is in me this morning. Not loud, just present. And if I'm being fully honest, there is something even quieter underneath all of that. The feeling of being unseen, of pouring out day after day, in ways that go unnoticed, of doing the work that no one applauds, carrying the weight that no one acknowledges, showing up for people and spaces that rarely show up for me. It doesn't always feel like a crisis. It just feels like a slow, steady disappearing. And then there is the hardest one to name, the way I have been turning on myself, replaying a moment I cannot change, asking why I didn't respond differently, why I didn't see it coming, why I made that choice, said that thing, missed that sign. There is a version of me standing in the corner of my own heart pointing fingers, and I have been listening to it far longer than I should. Lord, you see all of this. Not just the parts I've managed to put into words right now, but the parts that don't have names yet. The subtle grief I carry for the version of yesterday I hoped for and didn't get. The quiet shame that attached itself to my morning before I even had a chance to choose otherwise. You see it, and you do not flinch. You do not step back when I bring you the unpolished, unresolved, still bleeding parts of my story. You are not waiting for me to clean it up before you draw near. That is not who you are. You are close to the broken-hearted. Not eventually close. Not close once they've healed. Close right now, in the breaking, in the mess, in the morning after of a day that left marks. You are here, in this exact moment, with this exact weight, on this exact Thursday. You are already present in the place where I hurt most. And so I don't have to manage this alone. I don't have to minimize it to make it easier to carry. I don't have to perform okayness in your presence the way I sometimes do in everyone else's. I can just say, this is what hurt. This is what I'm still holding. This is where I need you. And that is enough. You don't need me to explain it further. You don't need me to justify why it affected me, or prove that the pain was warranted, or demonstrate that I tried hard enough before bringing it to you. You already know, and you are already near. You don't have to explain your pain to be heard. He already knows, and he is already near. There is something about guilt that is quieter than we expect. It doesn't always announce itself. It doesn't always come with a loud voice or a dramatic moment. Sometimes it just settles in, slowly. The way a coat gets heavier in the rain without you noticing until your shoulders are aching and you've forgotten what it felt like to walk without the weight. Maybe there were words yesterday. Words that came out sharper than you intended. Words you wish you could pull back out of the air and return to somewhere they would cause less damage. And you moved through the rest of the day carrying the echo of them, wondering how they landed, wondering what they changed, replaying the moment on a quiet loop that you didn't choose and couldn't quite stop. Or maybe it wasn't words. Maybe it was a moment of failure, a decision that didn't hold, a chance that slipped. And your mind has been returning to it like a bruise you keep pressing just to see if it still hurts. It does. And then there are those of you who know you need to let something go but honestly don't know how. You've tried. You've told yourself to release it. You've prayed over it more than once. And yet here it is again this morning, familiar and heavy, sitting with you like it belongs. Here is what I want you to hear gently. You've been carrying it so long, you forgot it wasn't yours to keep. Not the memory, not the lesson inside it, but the weight of it. The grinding, relentless weight of replaying what cannot be undone and carrying what was never designed for human hands to hold indefinitely. There is a quiet invitation that has been extended to you, not as a command, not as a demand that you perform some perfect act of surrender, just an invitation. Come, all of you who are tired, all of you who have been carrying things too heavy for too long, come and lay it down. That invitation is still open this morning. So let us do that now, together, honestly. Lord, I come to you this morning with things I have been holding that were never meant to stay in my hands. I name them before you now, not to relive them, but to release them. The words I said that I wish I could take back, the silence I kept when I should have spoken, the failure I have been pressing like a bruise, unable to let it heal because letting it heal feels like pretending it didn't matter. It mattered. I know it mattered. And you know it too. But you are not asking me to pretend, you are asking me to trust. Trust that what I cannot fix you can restore. Trust that what I cannot undo your grace is already covering. Trust that the weight of yesterday does not have to become the foundation of today. So I lay it down now. Not because it didn't hurt, not because it didn't cost something real, but because I was never made to carry this alone. My shoulders were not built for this. My mind was not designed to replay this forever, and my heart cannot heal while I am still gripping the thing that wounded it. I open my hands. I release the guilt that followed me into my sleep. I release the version of yesterday I keep rewriting in my head. I release the pressure to have handled everything perfectly. And I receive something in return. Not emptiness, not the absence of memory, but lightness. The quiet, real lightness that comes when you finally stop fighting to carry something and simply let it rest somewhere stronger than you. You are stronger than this. You have always been stronger than this. And what I lay at your feet today, I trust you to hold with the same hands that have held every broken thing I have ever brought to you. Nothing has slipped through yet. Nothing will today. I lay it down, not because it didn't matter, but because I was never meant to carry it alone. Lord, I want to be honest with you about something. When I think about healing, I think about a moment. A clear, unmistakable moment where everything shifts at once. Where the pain lifts completely, and I can finally breathe without that tightness in my chest. Where I wake up one morning and the thing that was heavy is simply gone. I have been waiting for that moment, hoping for it, checking for it. The way you check the sky for rain when the ground has been dry for too long. But I am beginning to understand that healing doesn't always arrive that way. Sometimes it doesn't come like a sudden storm that breaks the heat all at once. Sometimes it comes the way early morning rain comes quietly, without announcement, falling so gently on dry ground that you almost don't notice it has started. And then you look down, and the dust is settling, and you look up, and the air smells different, and something in you knows that something has shifted, even if you cannot explain exactly when it happened. That is what I am asking for today, Lord. Not the dramatic moment, just the gentle rain, because I have been dry for a while. Not without faith, but dry, carrying the residue of too many hard days, too many unresolved things, too many mornings that started heavy before they had the chance to be anything else. And somewhere along the way I stopped expecting to feel clean again. I stopped expecting that the weight could actually lift, not just be managed, not just be pushed to the side for a few hours, but genuinely lifted. And yet here I am, still turning toward you, which means something in me still believes that you are able, still believes that your light can reach the places that have been covered for a long time. I think about light the way it enters a room in the early morning. Not all at once, not throwing the window open and flooding everything in a single second, just finding the narrow places, the small gaps, the thin edges of the curtain, and pressing through quietly. And slowly the room begins to change. Slowly what was dark becomes visible. Slowly, what felt cold begins to warm. That is how I feel your healing moving in me right now, Lord. Not through every corner at once, but through the cracks, through the places I didn't even realize I had left open. And I am not going to rush it. I am not going to tell you how it should feel or how long it should take or what it should look like when it is finished, because I have tried to manage my own healing before, and all I did was interrupt it. So today I stay still, I stay open, and I let the rain fall where it needs to fall. Lord, I also want to release something I have been holding without fully realizing it. The belief that healing means forgetting. That for the pain of yesterday to stop mattering, the memory of it has to be erased. That wholeness means I will never feel the tenderness of those places again. But that is not what I am asking you for. And I don't think that is what you offer. You don't erase, you restore. There is a difference. Water doesn't erase the ground it falls on. It doesn't pretend the dryness was never there. It simply moves through it, softens it, gives it back what it lost, and what was cracked and brittle slowly becomes capable of holding life again. That is what I want. Not to have yesterday removed from my story, but to have its grip on me washed loose. To carry the wisdom of what I walked through without carrying the weight of it into every new morning. You said you are making all things new. Not that you are removing all things. Not that you are erasing all things, making them new. The same things, touched by your hand, becoming something that no longer has the same power over me that it once did. And I believe that is happening right now. Not somewhere in the future when everything is finally resolved. Right now, in this quiet, in this stillness, in this morning that I almost walked past without stopping, something is being made new in me. I may not feel it completely yet. I may walk out of this moment and still feel the tenderness of certain places. But tenderness is not the same as brokenness. And something being in process is not the same as something being abandoned. You are not finished with me. And the healing you are doing does not require my full understanding to be real. So I receive it, quietly, without demanding that it look a certain way or arrive on a schedule I designed. I open my hands and I stop clutching the wound so tightly that there is no room for you to reach it. I stop analyzing whether I deserve this level of care. I stop measuring how much healing I have left to earn. I just receive, because that is what this morning is, not a performance, not a transaction, just a moment where I stayed still long enough for the rain to reach me. And it is enough. Lord, let your healing light continue to move through every dry place in me, not just the places I know about, the hidden ones too, the ones I have stopped praying about because I got used to them aching. Let your gentleness reach those corners. Let your quiet work continue long after this prayer ends, moving through my day the way morning light moves through a room slowly, steadily, without asking permission. I don't need to understand how you heal me. I only need to stay still long enough to let you. And now, something has shifted. Not outside. Not yet. The circumstances are still the same. The situation you walked in with this morning hasn't changed shape. The people involved are still the same people. The thing that hurt you yesterday is still real. But something inside has moved. And that is where it always begins. Not with a dramatic turnaround. Not with a sudden announcement that everything is different now. Just a quiet, almost invisible shift in the interior, like a window being opened in a room that has been closed for too long. The light doesn't flood in all at once. It just begins to enter. Slowly, gently, enough to see by. And that is enough. You don't have to be fully healed to take the next step. You just have to be willing. Willing to stop letting yesterday decide how today feels. Willing to stop giving the hardest moment of the last 24 hours the authority to define the next 24. Willing to lift your foot and place it one step further than where the pain told you to stop. That is not pretending the wound isn't there. That is choosing not to build your home inside it. Lord, I want to walk forward today. Not in denial, not with a forced smile that covers what is still tender, but honestly, openly, with my whole self, including the parts that are still healing, moving in the direction of your light. I have spent so much time waiting to feel completely better before I allowed myself to move. Waiting until the sadness fully lifted. Waiting until the confusion cleared completely. Waiting until I was certain the old pain wouldn't come back before I gave myself permission to breathe again. But today I am learning something different. That your light doesn't wait for me to be whole before it reaches me. It reaches me in the middle of the process. It finds me while I am still tender. It walks beside me while I am still figuring things out. And somehow, in the walking, the healing continues. There is a truth I have held close for a long time, and this morning it feels more alive than ever, that the tears of the night do not cancel the morning. That what was heavy when the sun went down does not have to be the first thing I reach for when it rises again. Joy comes in the morning not because the night didn't happen, but because the night is not the final word. This morning is the final word for yesterday, and so I choose to walk in it. I walk in His light today, not perfectly, but forward, not without scars, but without chains. Not because I have arrived somewhere, but because I have been released from something. And released is enough to move. Released is enough to begin again. Released is enough to lift my eyes from what was and turn them toward what is still possible. Lord, take my steps today. Not the steps I planned when I was afraid. Not the steps I mapped out when I was trying to control every outcome. Not the small, careful, barely there steps of someone who has forgotten what it feels like to trust. Take my real steps. The ones I take when I believe you are actually with me. The ones that are a little wider than they were yesterday. A little less guarded. A little more open to what this day might hold that I haven't yet imagined. I don't know everything that is waiting for me on this Thursday. I don't know every conversation, every moment, every unexpected thing that will find its way into my afternoon. But I know this: you are already there. You have already gone ahead into the hours I haven't lived yet, and you are making a way through them for me. So I don't have to brace myself against today. I can receive it. I can walk into my work without the weight of yesterday's failure sitting on my shoulders like something permanent. I can speak to the people in my life without yesterday's frustration still clenched in my jaw. I can meet this day with something that feels lighter, not because I am pretending, but because something genuinely was laid down in this quiet moment, and I am choosing not to pick it back up. And even on this April 30th, this specific Thursday, that will never come again, I want to walk differently than I did yesterday. Not dramatically. No one around me may even notice. But I will know. I will know that I chose the light this morning instead of staying in the shadow of what hurt me. I will know that I turned toward healing instead of rehearsing the wound. I will know that when yesterday tried to follow me into today, I said gently but firmly, you do not belong here anymore. Because yesterday does not get to write today. That pen belongs to him, and he is writing something I haven't read yet. Something that doesn't begin with the hardest line of the last chapter. Something that starts fresh, right here, right now, on this quiet Thursday morning with a heart that is washed, a spirit that is willing, and a God who has never once stopped moving on my behalf. I walk forward, in His light, one step, and then another, and now there is nothing left to force, nothing left to figure out before this day begins. You came into this moment carrying something heavy, and somewhere in the quiet of this prayer, something shifted. Not everything at once, maybe not even visibly yet, but enough. Enough to breathe a little differently than when you first sat down. Enough to feel that the weight you woke up with is no longer entirely yours to carry. That is not a small thing. That is grace doing what only grace can do. So stay here just a moment longer. Don't rush back into the noise yet. Let this stillness settle into the deeper places, the ones that don't change quickly, the ones that needed this more than you realized when you pressed play this morning. You are not the same person who started this prayer. Lord, as this quiet moment draws to a close, I ask that everything spoken here and everything too deep for words would remain, not as a feeling that fades by noon, but as a steady, anchored knowing that you are with me. Go before me into this Thursday, into the conversations I'm not prepared for, into the responsibilities that feel heavier than my energy, into the moments where yesterday tries to follow me and whisper that nothing has changed. Let your healing light walk into every room I enter today. Cover my family, the ones I worry about quietly, the ones whose struggles I carry even when they don't know it. Surround them with the same peace I'm receiving right now. Strengthen my body where exhaustion has settled. Renew my mind where the weight of recent days has made thinking feel slow and heavy. And guard my steps, every single one. Not just the big decisions, the small ones too. The words I choose, the way I respond, the moments where I could react out of yesterday's pain or choose something gentler instead. Let this be a day where your light is visible in me, not because I performed well, but because you are in me. I receive this Thursday as a gift, unwrapped gently, held with open hands. Thank you, Lord, for what you have already done, for what you are still doing, and for what I cannot yet see but am learning to trust. In Jesus' name, Amen. If this prayer met you somewhere real this morning, you're welcome to type Amen in the comments. Not for us, for you. As a quiet marker that says, on April 30th, I chose to begin again. And if you'd like to keep starting your mornings this way, we're here every day. Simply subscribe, and we'll be waiting for you tomorrow. Go gently today. You are loved. You are lighter than when you began. And you are not walking into this Thursday alone.